Thank you, sir. So Sienna Government Solutions, in conjunction with our great partner Walker & Associates, is proud to be here for the second time to sponsor today's event as Platinum sponsors. It's now my great pleasure to introduce Brigadier General Lorna Mahlock, United States Marine Corps, our keynote speaker today. And I'd like to invite her to start to walk up to the stage, please. Brigadier General Mahlock is Director, Information C4 Division, Deputy Commandant for Information at the United States Marine Corps. She previously served as Deputy Director, Headquarters Marine Corps Plans, Policies, and Operations, and Commanding Officer, Marine Air Control Group 18, Okinawa, Japan. General Mahlock has commanded at various levels globally and in combat, including during Operation Southern Watch, Iraqi Freedom 1, Iraqi Freedom 2, and Iraqi Freedom 8. Brigadier General Mahlock holds 3 master's degrees in education and national security and strategic studies, and a master's certificate in information operations. She is also a graduate of the United Kingdom Defense College Higher Command and Staff. General Mahlock's personal awards include the Legion of Merit, the Defense Meritorious Service Medal, the Meritorious Service Medal, the Joint Service Commendation Medal, the Joint Service Achievement Medal, the Navy and Marine Corps Commendation Medal, Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medal, and the Good Conduct Medal. Please join me in giving a very, very warm welcome to Brigadier General Mahlock.
Thank you. Thank you for that introduction. Well, good evening, Lieutenant General Shea. Susan and the women of the AFCEA team, thank you for the work you do in putting this great event together annually with our industry partners to help us think broadly about our challenges and see the opportunities by bringing together this diverse group who view the space differently than we do from inside our own DoD paradigm. And so, you're going to have to help us solve some of these wicked challenges that we're trying to get after in the department as we leverage technology to increase lethality to fight and win our nation's battle. Because at the end of the day, make no bones about it, it's about winning in great power competition. It's a race for first place, and the fight is on. I'd also like to say congratulations tonight to the awardees, Jane Brightwell from Walker & Associate, Jackie Shard from the UK National Cybersecurity Center, and Jennifer Greenwell from Centec Global, Stephanie Hutch from P3I, Inc., leaders in telecom, cybersecurity, and a woman-owned innovation company. And as I researched these awardees, I couldn't stop this song playing in my head. And it's Beyonce, and it goes, "Who runs the world? These girls," right? They're that good. They're titans. I call them leaders in their own right. They're fierce, they're fearsome, and they're fearless. And you already did what I was going to ask you to do, was to give them a round of applause, so thank you. I'd like to begin by saying it's a privilege to spend time with you today and the opportunity to have a conversation. And someone close to me, really close, like 35 years close and counting, Mr. Mahlock, actually, told me that the most precious gift that you can give someone is the gift of your time. And so I want to thank you for sharing your time with me, because I'll say that, as a mother of 3, 2 kids in their 20s and one that's a 6-year-old, I can't get them to give me 5 minutes. So the fact that you're giving me 20, I'm much grateful for your time. And I promise, they told me 30, I'm giving myself 20, we're probably not going to take that long, I promise. In my opinion, it's a great time to be a Marine and a great time to be an American. And I've had a tremendous opportunity to lead and serve with some of the finest men and women in war and peace. And in my opinion, I consider we've been given a great gift, a great largesse in the opportunity to serve with us men, women, soldiers, sailors of our nation. And I'm pretty fired up about that. And so I said we were going to be short, so what's on your mind? I have nothing prepared, so I intend to have you ask the question. What do you want to hear? Okay, just kidding. But I thought really long and hard about what would I talk about to this august body about this evening. What conversation is worthy of sharing with this impressive group of diverse audience, including our industry partner, particularly the titans, the current titans and the future titans and the men and women with who we serve? Should we talk about the work that we're doing now in the information space, about how we need to make that seismic shift to enable the Marine Air Ground Task Force to answer the call as a part of the naval fleet to fight inside the first and second island chain, or generate that deploying combat power that we need to push globally at a moment's notice, to answer the call, not if it comes, but when it comes. Because everything is about the work that we need to do now to prepare to fight and win. So should we talk about that? I think that's been covered quite adequately this week. And so by those far more qualified than me, who else has an issue with this I-me thing? But in case you miss what we talked about this week, get your pen out and paper, and I'm going to give you the cheat sheet. So all you need to remember is network modernization, great power competition, China, Russia. Cyber is hard, data is harder, Huawei is eating our lunch, 5G, AI, information warfare, battle of signatures, strong military partnered with industry partner. It's all about winning, and there you have it. I bet if you knew that, you would have left yesterday. And you wouldn't be here forced to listen to me talk today. But, okay, so I won't be covering with that. Do I have your permission to move on? All right. So what should the conversation be about? I think the conversation should be about the challenges and the opportunity in the context of all those things that we've talked about, given the technology accelerations. The future is arriving faster than we think, and the possibilities and opportunities are endless at each end of the spectrum to do good and to do evil. And as we think about the global landscape we operate in, and the competition between the United States, China, Russia, Korea, Iran, Mexico, Brexit, Europe, then layer on commerce, technology, bioengineering, religion, scarcity of natural resources, and the coronavirus, to name a few, then we see that the environment that we are operating in right now has a level of complexity that heretofore has been unknown by the workforce that we have. And the next generation cannot fathom the challenges as we think about the integration of these complexity that they will have. And so some, like Professor Klaus Schwab from the World Economic Forum, in his book, The Fourth Industrial Revolution, argues that technology accelerations and the convergence, these convergence, will change who we are as individuals and our belief system. But I'll tell you, as a naval force and in my own service, the Marine Corps, we have no problems with identity. Let me just say for the record, as Marines and leaders of Marines, we know who we are and what we must do to be worthy of the title Marines and the honor of serving our nation and its people. And I'm proud to be a member of an organization who's also committed to change and leveraging the diverse talent to protect and defend the freedom that we all hold dear. As the nation's 911 force, we're known as the few, the proud, the Marines. Sounds cheesy, right? But it's who we are. It is that simple. Our motto is Semper Fi. It's always faithful. Our core values are honor, courage, and commitment. You've heard us call no better friend, no worse enemy, right? We take people from all walks of life, no matter what race, color, creed, no matter who they are, where they come from. We transform them, and we make them Marines. And you can't describe it unless you've done it. It's an organization that enables ordinary people to do extraordinary things. We imbibe in our Marine this idea of selfless service, right? That that everybody can do the extraordinary, that's about being a part of a team, that it's about winning, it's about doing the impossible, it's about being innovative, it's about creating opportunities for others, but more importantly, it's about trust. Trust in that shared value system and a belief so strong, a system that's so strong that when it really matters, whether the bullets are flying overhead or we're conducting humanitarian assistance at home or abroad, defending our networks in cyberspace or providing that sense of family you never had. We function as an organism. When it matters, we have the watch, we have your back, and the battle is on. And so imagine the 17-year-old immigrant from a third world country with less than 4 months under her belt in the United States, finding myself at boot camp in Parris Island, South Carolina, for over 3 months of the most grueling training of my young life. And there are times in that, those months when that Harry Belafonte song kept coming to my head and I'd go, Deo, daylight come, I want to go home. And I'll tell you what, Marines don't quit, right? And I fought my personal internal battles, and for 3 months they broke us down and they built us back up with the leadership lessons, 14 traits and principles, and the associated acronym. Every Marine here know it. JJ did tile buckle. If you're in the military, there's an acronym. We've got one, right? Justice, judgment, dependability, initiative, decisiveness, tact, loyalty, enthusiasm, bearing, unselfishness, courage, knowledge, loyalty, and endurance. And we learned 11 leadership traits and principles. But most important of these are know yourself, seek self-improvement, know your job, be technical proficient, know your people, look out for their well-being, train your team, set the example, seek responsibility, take responsibility, and lead. From day one, we were trained to lead. Lead among your peers, leaders create culture, leaders create climate, leaders protect and defend, leaders take a stand, leaders create and embrace the warrior ethos, leaders eat last. And I must tell you, as a person of Caribbean descent with a whole culture around food, I had a problem with that for a little bit. But I learned, right? Leaders build team. It's about the team. It's about the family team. It's about the work team. It's about the community team. That one can be ordinary, but truly be extraordinary or do the extraordinary with the help of a strong team, which includes our male leaders when there are battles to be won. So this idea of battles won keeps resonating with me, right? And as the Department of Defense, in my opinion, we're working through how we define, in this new information environment battle space, our understanding of, what is lethality, what is hard power, how do you understand hard power, how do you deliver hard and kinetic power in the cognitive and logical domains. But history is replete of battles won, not on the traditional battlefield. And this is about men and women who saw not only the problem and challenges, but the opportunities in them. And as an immigrant, I'm reminded that I take too much for granted, like the right to vote. And I was watching the news last night, and I saw that we were celebrating, again, a reminder, 100 years of women's suffrage. And I'm reminded of how far we have come, and we should not take that basic right to vote for granted. I'm also reminded that the battle to be fought are not always on the battlefield. And over 100 years ago, Susan B. Anthony began a battle at the age of 17, which would shape the 19th Amendment of the Constitution, because there was a battle. And with the help of a strong team of men like Frederick Douglass and William Lloyd Garrison, she said, organize, agitate, educate must be our war cry. And she fought battles and won for all of us. And so, show of hands, how many of you have heard of Harriet Tubman? That's goodness, right? And so, she used, so my daughter, quick story, right? Really quick diversion. My daughter, when she was 10 years old, she was just really fascinated by this book by Harriet Tubman. And she used to be extremely frustrated by her younger brother, who's 2 years younger than she is. And I mean, she would always speak for him, right? And I remember one day I came home from work, and he was 4 years old at the time, and he had this great story to tell me, and he would take, and all his stories would have like, and then, and so a 2-minute story would take 10 minutes, and she just got fed up of him, taking his thens, and she just told the story in like a minute, and he was so disappointed. He was like, I wanted to say that. And so my husband turned to him and said, it's okay, little buddy. You're gonna have to get used to it, a lifetime of that, right? So my last week though, my daughter called, and she goes, Mom, have you seen the movie Harriet Tubman? And I hadn't. And so on Sunday, I watched the movie. And Harriet Tubman was barely 5 foot tall, but she was an armed scout and a spy for the Union Army during the Civil War, when no one believed that she should or she could. But she didn't do it alone. Her team included men like Frederick Douglass and John Brown, and her message was simple. Sometimes change is dismantling the old and it's building the new. And that has implications for us all. Change is hard, right? And the battle for us is the change that we must make now to get better, to leverage the technology and the diverse talent that we have to win, because it's all about winning. And Susan B. Anthony and Tubman illustrated that ordinary people can do extraordinary things when they're a part of a great team and change the world for others. Across the globe, women, as part of strong organizational teams, which include our men, answer the call to serve this great nation and our militaries, our business, our communities, and our families, because there's still many battles to be won, and that, my friends, will never change. And so the future operating environment in which we fight, job one will be recruiting and retaining the best talent to fight and win against the multiplicity of threats that we face in all domains: air, land, sea, space, cyber, competition against great power. And so the discussion about women in the armed forces or leadership positions or whatever, it's a discussion about building great teams. It's about increasing lethality. It's about winning wars. It's about having the right instrument and the tool and the toolkit to win on the battlefield or in the boardroom. That's the discussion we need to be having. And so for the Marine Corps, having great kit is really, really important for us in the next fight. But we, as a service, believe the asymmetric advantage will come from having a force that comes from all walks of life, gender, color, and creed, to think differently about solving the diverse problem sets at the tactical, operational, and strategic level, and that will be critical for us in the future fight. And women have a critical role to play there. We've come a long way, but there are still a lot of great opportunities to get better. And our Commandant of the Marine Corps has said that the Marine Corps is a people force, and we're in the process of redesigning the force based on the priorities of war fighting, education, training, core values, command, and leadership. And so in closing, what does battles won mean for me? It's the day-on, stay-on work that we need to do as Marines, the work we do every day, every minute, to stay true to the leadership traits and principles, given that we are human and we fail at times, to keep our honor clean. It's the training we do every day to ensure that we're ready when the nation's least ready. It's the work we must do daily to be there to take care of our fellow brothers and sisters in arms. It's the work we do to lead our community, our nation. It's the work we do as mothers, sisters, wives, and spouses. It's the work we do to protect our nation at home and abroad. It's the mentorship that we do to build the next generation of leaders. It's the adversity we face and the battles we win every day that makes us lethal physically and mentally. It necessitates, fundamentally, dismantling the old and building new in the information environment we are finding. To win, we are outliers. Remember, we're outliers, innovators, disruptors, leaders, and titans. Remember, I'm a Marine, so we're always looking for a few good men and women If you aren't already here, you too could be one of us. Thank you. God bless and Semper Fi.